Hey team, I'm just going to take you through a project workflow that I've built. It's for generally large projects, so 250,000 to 20 million in size in the IT space. Generally run by companies, that turn over close to $1 billion, if not more, because they need a good comprehensive workflow for their projects. But if you're running projects in your business, you want a similar kind of workflow and you want to tailor it to the size of your business and the artifacts that you need in order to run it professionally and get the details out. So when I talk about systematizing your business, part of that is systematizing your project management and understanding everything that needs to go into and out of your project so that you're delivering your projects consistently, whether you're delivering IT projects or you're delivering infrastructure or construction or anything that's got like a project. And the definition of a project is something that is a unique and defined project with a beginning and an end. It's not a continuous like a manufacturing process, although you should have all your processes mapped out for your manufacturing. And if you don't, we can get that sorted too. So you see here, overall, it goes through concept, initiate plan, design, execution, and close. The concept and initiation and plan phases are about pulling together all your project artifacts, your team, understanding what the project is going to be doing, what you need to do, plan your resources, make sure your budget's all sorted, define what your milestones are, and set out your project schedule, basically line everything up. Then your design phase, you get into the full design of whatever it is that you're building, and then you go into execution, build it, test it, user acceptance test it, do all your change management activities, and get your change advisory board sign off in order to get it live if you've got a change advisory board. And then obviously to close it out, we do lessons learned, handover documentation. So that's any documentation that you need to be able to hand it over into the business as usual side of things, and project closure report, close the financials, and close the project off. So what that workflow ends up looking like is this. So you see we've built here the concept stage workflow. We define what elements of the business are doing what. So we've got the PMO, which is Project Management Office. They're going to be looking after these key elements up here, and then you go to the project manager. It details what they're doing, arranging the concept start meetings and the scoping workshops and defining what the scope of the project is. So we lock that scope down, building out the project charter, arranging review meetings. Then the project group gets involved. That's obviously anyone that's involved in the project. And you've got technical leads and vendors, and technical leads could be things like engineers, if you're a construction business, or your architect. If you're doing IT, it's often your senior business analysts, and again, they call them architects in IT as well, and those are the guys that design the IT for your business. And then you've got vendors. Obviously, that's anyone that's not your business that's going to be doing work. So they need a solution outline produced by them for you, and you need to review that solution outline, and then they'll give you the cost estimates for that solution outline, and that goes into the impact assessment, goes into the project charter, and all gets signed off. So the idea is you don't move from concept stage into initiation and plan until everything's honky-dory. If you get to the close to the end of your concept stage and it's going to cost you too much, stop. That's the purpose of the concept stage, is that it defines your project and then gives you an opportunity to stop the project or kick on to the next phase if it makes sense to move on to the next phase. And then initiate and plan. This is getting into the details of the planning. You plan your resources, you plan your milestones, you plan your schedule, create your project management plan, which defines all the elements within your project. You update your business case, present it, then get approval to sign off and go into the next stage. And the next stage is the design phase, which can be run in conjunction with initiate and plan, but generally we separate the design stage because now that we've defined what our project is and what we want to do, now we want to get into the detailed design. What is this really going to look like? We've gone past our concept. If you're doing architecture, you've gone past your concept drawings, you're now getting into the full-on design. And this is where your If you're building a building, your quantity surveyor in the first stages, initiate plan, they would have done some looking at what sort of costs there were concept stage, looking at kind of what sort of costs there could have been, and then they've moved on and they've kind of updated them in initiating plan, and then now you're into the design stage, and now you get the full-on detailed design, you get your detailed costs, and again, this design stage gives you an opportunity to look at and go, this is going to cost me too much. I need to trim or stop the project. It's not going to be feasible to do. It basically gives you that opportunity to really get control of the project before you kick off into the most expensive part, which is the build phase, or the execute stage. And this is where your project manager obviously manages the project end to end. You need to build the solution, test it, execute all of your testing that goes on, whether that's functional testing or any other type of testing, user acceptance testing, security testing, all that kind of stuff needs to be carried on. And then your change manager manages the change activities. So that's like things like creating the change management plan and implementing it. Then in a larger business, we call them business owners because they're the business people that own the process workflows for their part of the business. It's not actually the business owner of an SMB, but it could be. There's no reason why it couldn't be. And so we work through that, and your change manager helps your team manage the change as it's being rolled out to the workforce. It goes through, gets all approved to the change advisory board for go live, and then we execute go live, and you're done and dusted, just about. Obviously, there's the closing stage workflow, and here you prepare the lessons learned. You do a lessons learned workshop so you can learn all the lessons out of the project and apply them to the next one. You do your closeout reports for yourself, your customers, staff, whatever needs to be done on that score. Get approval for the closure of the project from the business owner or from the sponsor or whoever is involved, and then that gets reviewed, closed, and then the project's closed, done, end of the project. So that's essentially the overall workflow that you deal with when you're doing a good mid to large size project. And this can apply to smaller projects as well. You just tailor down how much of the documentation and what have you it is that you're doing. So that gives you a pretty good run through of, what does it look like when we're doing projects? What are the responsibilities of the project manager, the other parts of the project, whether the project group or the management within the organization, the business owners, who's in charge of the governance, and basically gives you an effective way to manage your projects consistently and deliver consistent results. So everyone knows what it is that's expected of them, which is quite important. And then essentially, we apply the same sort of thing from this project management workflow to your business. And that's when I talk about business processes and how those business processes need to be defined and put out through your business so everyone understands what their expectations of them are. This is what they look like. This is the level of detail often that we'll go down to. We can even go down to further detail if we need to. And all that gets done, laid out, and then you're ready to go. Yeah, all right. Thanks for the run through. Cheers, team.